Hey everybody, this is Jay Moore, and I'm the founder of the group The Ordinary Christian. And today I'm going to start a series of videos on using social media to shine the light of Christ. That's right, how can we use social media like Facebook, Twitter, and other ones in a way that will help us to shine the light of Christ, to share Jesus, to get the good news of Christ out there to other people. But before I get into the specifics of the how-tos, different ways and approaches, methods that you can use, I want to deal more with kind of the attitudes that we need to have. Some things to look inwardly, our motivations, and so I want to talk about three important things, guidelines that we need to remember when we use social media to promote Christ. Before we get into the how-tos, we got to settle the issues. What's our purpose for being on social media, and how do we get ourselves ready to portray Christ to a world that's out there who may or may not know you personally? So we're going to look at three guidelines. And the first one is that we need to use social media to build up and not tear down people. That's right. The purpose for social media one of them should be to build people up, not tear them down. The Bible tells us that we should make sure that whatever comes out of our mouth, whatever we say, is for the purpose of building up people. But too often on social media, like Facebook, when we read comments and things like that, it is so uncensored, things that are being said that are just downright hurtful and often hateful. For Christians being on social media, there is no place for that. Absolutely no place at all. And we need to, edit out all thoughts, comments, ideas that would potentially tear down people, show bigotry, show hatred, even show frustration to a point of sinfulness. The Bible tells us that when we get angry, that James, in the book of James, it says the anger of man does not accomplish the righteousness of God. So we really need to do a self-reflection on ourselves and ask ourselves, is what I'm about ready to post going to build people up, or is it going to tear people down? And you say, well, sometimes people need to be corrected. Well, that might be true, but not in public. Here's the thing, a rule of thumb I've learned a long time ago, I think it's very true, and that is we always praise in public, but we correct in private. Praise in public, correct in private. If somebody on social media, a friend of yours, or somebody is making inappropriate comments or hurtful comments, then message them privately and bring the issue up with them there. But your public posts should always be used in a way that builds people up, not tears people down. That means, sometimes when you're responding to people's comments, they're attacking you. Well, how do you do it when they're attacking you? Well, Jesus says turn the other cheek. Sometimes it's just better to ignore some of the comments that people have than to get into it, because what happens is we get into this tit for tat thing with the comments, and it's just really not helpful. Once you've explained yourself or clarified yourself and they're still wanting to challenge you on things, leave it alone. Drop the rope. How do you stop getting into a tug of war with somebody? Well, drop your end of the rope and you're no longer in the tug of war. So first of all, remember, use social media in a way that builds people up. Compliment people, praise people, tell them what a good job they're doing. When I I put a post out there and and I ask it a question, like a recent question I asked on Facebook was, what is a lesson that you've learned or that God has taught you recently? And so people start commenting on these things. And so I comment on their comments, and I'm making sure that I'm telling them, man, that's a great insight that God has given you. Awesome. Or somebody says that he's taught me that I need to love like he loves. And I said, yeah, absolutely. Love like the way God does, unconditionally and sacrificially. Well, what does my response or my comment to their comment do? It builds them up. It affirms them. It lets them know that they're doing good. If I'm reading somebody's post and I find it to be extremely good, I find it to be something that is very positive, well, I'll leave a positive comment on there for them. So that's the first one. things that you say in your original post and even in your comments afterwards, make sure that they are there to build up, not tear down. Here's the second one. Use social media to portray the glory of God and not promote the immorality of the world. Use social media to portray the glory of God and not promote the immorality of the world. You know, quite often I will be on, looking at different people's Facebook pages or their Twitter or something like that, and they're friends of mine, and I'm just seeing how they've, what they've posted or what they've said about themselves and things that they like, and I'm often concerned about their the immorality of the world that seems to be portrayed or promoted from their Facebook page. When we do that, it sends a mixed message. If you're there and you want to shine the light of Christ, but you're trying to mix it in with promoting the immorality of the world's going to look at you as a hypocrite. So really, you need to do a self-reflection and ask yourself, why do you have that particular material on your page? Why are you showing these kind of images, these kind of pictures? Understand, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I think that there really needs to be a self-reflection, a self-evaluation taking place, and asking yourself, is there something, a sin in your life that you need to confess and get right and root out of you so that it's no longer being reflected or promoted on your Facebook? The immorality of the world has no place where the glory of God is being shown. And so we need to look at the pictures. Are they there promoting the immorality of the world, or are they promoting the glory of God? The posts that we're saying, the language that we're using, the vocabulary that's coming out of our posts, do they reflect the glory of God in some way, or are they promoting the immorality of the world? And so really do a Facebook makeover, check over, physical, maybe you might even say, and remove anything off your Facebook page that would in any way condone or promote immorality. Get rid of it. There's no place for it. Here's the third one. Ready for it? We need to use social media to share Jesus more than we share ourselves. Now, I'm not saying don't share yourself, because part of social media is about showing yourself. But listen to me. If Jesus is the most important part of your life, then Jesus is going to be what you share the most. I tell people, if you really want to get to know me, you're going to have to get to know Jesus, because you can't understand me if you don't understand Jesus, because I live for Jesus. I breathe for Jesus. He's my everything. But a lot of times we use social media to really, share ourselves, to promote ourselves, to build ourselves up. We're trying to create a certain kind of image of ourselves. Well, if that image that we're trying to create of ourselves isn't the image of Christ, then you're not going to be effective in using social media to shine the light of Christ. I mean, if you're going to shine the light of Christ, you have to share Jesus. Talk about your personal relationship with Christ. Maybe even do a video giving your testimony of what your life was like before you knew Jesus, how you came to know Christ, and what your life was like since knowing Jesus, and post that and share that. Little posts about what Jesus means to you, or what Jesus has taught you today. Bible verses that mean something to you and why they mean something to you. That all promotes God. That all promotes Christ. Good things like that. And I would encourage you to do that. Let Jesus be the most important thing, and you be the secondary thing. Make sure that you are the reflection, that when people look at you, they're seeing a reflection of Christ who lives in you. All right, these are just a few things to consider. 3 things on how to use social media. Before we get into the how-tos, do that self-investigation, that self-evaluation, and ask yourself, are you using social media to build people up or to tear them down? Are you using social media to portray the glory of God, or are you using it also to portray or promote the immorality of the world? And are you using social media to share Jesus or to share yourself? All right, this is Jay Moore with The Ordinary Christian. Take care, God bless you, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.